I think it's time.
Yeah, like 5:30.
It's time,
We
Mr. Mayor.
done? I'd like to welcome everybody to our Monday, April 8th, special Cascade City Council meeting. We'll have a call to order with roll call.
Oliphant?
Here.
Roush?
Here.
Hush?
Here.
Gale?
Here.
Delaney?
Here.
Need a motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Motion by Oliphant,
I'll second.
second by Roush. All in favor?
Aye.
At this point, I need a motion to open public hearing for the fiscal year 2025 property taxes.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
I'll second.
second by Roush. Roll call.
Gale?
Here. Aye.
Delaney?
Aye.
Oliphant?
Aye.
Roush?
Aye.
Hush?
Aye.
At this point, we're in public hearing.
Do either of you want to speak? Sounds good. Does the council want me to just kind of give a brief?
Sure.
That'd be great.
Just a brief, yep, good.
You don't have the hearing notice, do you? So some of the changes for this year that are happening with taxes changed a lot. And so when you take your total assessed value of your home, up until last year, it was in the 50%. So the last year was 54.4 decimal points out. So they would take, if you had a $100,000 house, you would be paying taxes on 54,000 and a few change. Then the way that and that's called the rollback. And then the rollback going for this year coming up has been lowered from 54% down to 46 point, and again, 4 decimal points out. So there's that. And then the city council has to then decide how much they're going to levy in terms of dollars. And so in the past, the state allowed for all of our general fund purposes, which is like streets, parks, our city hall offices, when we had cable TV, the city council's wages, the mayor's wages, economic development things, that was capped at $8.10. And one of the other changes that was made in this last year was if you grew more than 3% in our total city's growth, so when you add up all the values of all the houses, businesses, everything, if you grew more than 3%, you started to have that $8.10 per thousand back down. And so we had 6% growth, so we got back down to $7.86. So for every $1,000 of dollars, it was $7.86 for the general things. And then the other areas that this city council has the option to levy for is what we call FICA and IPERS. So that's our Medicare and retirement benefits for our full-time employees. That's a separate line item. There's a separate line item for other employee benefits, which we do like our health insurance, our work comp insurance. So that's a line item for taxes, which is in addition to that $7. And then the final line item that, there's 2 more. And then the next one is our liability insurance, which is also like vehicle insurance, building insurance, the liability for the decisions that the council makes, they're insured for that. And then finally, the last thing is for debt. And so the debt payments that we have that we levy for right now are 2017, there was money spent on streets. So we have to pay the debt payments for those. The pool debt is not in the debt levy. That was paid for by sales tax revenue. And then this year, which increased the taxes by approximately $101,000, was the fact that we're doing the library, Highway 136, and purchasing a new street sweeper, which in the future, those will go into a different pot of money, but based on timing of it being borrowed as of tonight, actually, it'll be approved by the council. That went up as much. So the total tax rate last year was $11.12, and it will be going up to $12, assuming the council approves this at the 2 weeks from tonight. $12.50 is the proposed tax, which would have been on that notice. If you looked at the letters, I don't know if you ladies got the letters in the mail for your property that informed you about the state. So,
I said she's holding hers.
oh, got it. Oh, yeah, right there. So $12.50, and then what that does is if your values stayed the same as last year on your house, that would mean that your property tax amount to the city would go down 5%. The thing that we do not control is what the assessed value is, which is through the state. So like I just looked up the council. One of the 6 of them stayed the same. Everybody else went up. Some went up, maybe 10%. I think there was some that went up 30%. So that part we don't control. So that will obviously change what happens. But if you were comparing 100,000 of last year to 100,000 of this year, the dollars that we'll collect will be less 5%. Anybody think of anything else? That's kind of, we're not really talking so much about the budget today as just the property taxes. And then assuming you set the hearing for 2 weeks, then in 2 weeks, we'll have one more public hearing where we'll actually go over the budget. And then,
Thank you.
you're welcome.
I have a question.
Riley has a question.
Okay, so library debt, so I thought that was all gonna go through TIF.
It is, but remember, we certified TIF in November,
Gotcha, so it
so
won't
we
get
couldn't. So it'll be
recertified.
a one-year time that we're gonna pay for debt levy. And so because we did that, the way that we structured the debt was no principal is being paid in the first year for the library or for the highway, because they're both gonna be in TIF. So it's interest only.
Okay.
The sweeper is over 3 years, so that's a little bit more aggressive, and there is principal there. And then we'll have the ability to pay ourselves back out of TIF. You know how you can like we'll take the chunk that we are owed by TIF if you want to TIF it. And then at the back end, there could be an amount, either we'll take a little bit extra in the first couple of years to pay back this year, or we can, and it would be that the TIF would be paying back the debt levy. So it doesn't mean that you can decrease it, but since you levied for it, it needs to go back in the debt levy. So if we pay ourselves back with that TIF money in the future, then we can use that to pay debt payments in the future. It still has to go towards debt.
Okay,
So that's why, because we didn't, it was too early to certify when you have to certify in November.
Okay.
And then we weren't gonna be able to borrow the money until now.
gotcha.
So
Makes sense.
that's why we did this kind of, if you remember what we did, like 1 or 2 meetings, or that might have been the one that you were gone, we did like a pre-levy resolution, which was establishing like, we are gonna levy for this. And then once it's here and we have it, then we'll certify it this coming November as debt, and then it'll be all those debt payments, and then we'll just have to decide based on the availability of TIF funding, how we wanna repay ourselves from this interest-only year for those 2 borrowings.
Okay.
And, so if you look at, and then we also have the SIPCO loan, and we have the library from, or the Dubuque County loan. So, yeah, so the interest on the library portion of it is like 23,400. The interest on the highway is 28,100. So those 2 numbers.
Add up to,
Yep, and then we're also doing a $35,000 principal payment on the sweeper. And then we have the principal on the county loan is gonna be 20,000 a year. The SIPCO principal is going to be 23,000. And then you have a little bit of interest. This, obviously, the county's interest is the lowest at 1%. So theirs ends up to be about 21,000 in payments, so. Some of that, remember how we had agreed when we put this hearing out that we were gonna do the debt levy? And we agreed to that amount of 239. 239,570. So that's the amount that we're levying. And then that can go lower next year when we don't have to make those payments without TIF. And then, I was thinking of something else. Oh, so all the payments for the library, the highway, and the 2017 bonds all add up to like 400 and some odd thousand. And then, and I think that's including the pool as well. So sales tax gives the pool the debt money, and then the levy pays for everything else. And then we basically said we'll live with this 239 as our debt amount. And then the rest in a 1 year will go from, there's like, do you remember what that number was? 40,000? I think it was 40,000 approximately is coming from sales tax as well. So with that TIF money, most of it'll go back towards debt and a little bit will go towards sales tax. So. Do you have any other questions
Any
based on that?
questions?
I think so.
We appreciate your interest.
I just hope that street sweeper works this time. Use it.
I seen him drive around the other day. It looked pretty nice.
Yeah.
Plant potatoes ahead of my house someday.
Water in front when they were trying it the other day, it didn't work.
Oh, I didn't see, I just seen him coming around the thing and he was going and I'm like, oh, that looks pretty good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Ladies.
So if there's nothing else from the council, we can close the hearing.
Need a motion to close public hearing?
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Delaney,
Second.
second by Oliphant. Roll call.
Delaney.
Aye.
Oliphant.
Aye.
Roush.
Aye.
Hush. Gale.
Aye.
If there's nothing else, I need a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Motion by Roush,
Second.
second by Hush. All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.